Please welcome Rati.
Yeah, I'm short. So I was a pretty good kid in high school. I was in student government, I was in the National Honor Society and all that shit. So I was a little confused when at the end of my sophomore year, right before lunch, I got called into the principal's office. Now, when I walked into the office, the secretary was smiling at me. So I was like, all right, I'm not in trouble, nothing bad happened, no one died, like everything's okay. And I was like, what's up? And she was like, you have a delivery. And she pointed to her left, where sitting on the counter was a little glass vase with 6 gorgeous white roses in it. And I was like, who sent them? And she was like, read the card. And by the smirk on her face, I could tell that the nosy bitch had already read the card herself. So I dug the card out and I read it, and written in perfect florist handwriting, it said, to Rati, from your secret admirer. And I was like, oh my god, I've never had a secret admirer before. I've never had any sort of admirer before. Now, until this point in time, I had never had a boyfriend or a reciprocated crush or even a real kiss that didn't involve a bottle or a closet. So my heart just like flew out of my chest with the thought that like someone out there loved me and loved me so much that they would send me roses at school for everyone to see. Now, I had to leave the roses in the office because they weren't gonna fit in my locker. And I was one of those kids who was like constantly over-prepared for class, so I always had like twice as many books in my hands. So I couldn't carry around the flowers to class either. So I just left them in the office, and as soon as I got to my lunch table, I told my friends all about the roses. And I was like bragging that I had a secret admirer. And then as a group, we tried to figure out who the secret admirer was. Maybe it was Adam, my date from the Sadie Hawkins dance, or maybe it was one of the boys I met at science camp last summer. Or maybe it was Joe Alverson. So Joe was the student body president, soon to be valedictorian, and on all of the academic teams with me. He was cute and smart and talked to me voluntarily. I was completely obsessed with him. For about a week during school, there was a rumor going around that he was going to ask me to the prom, but he ended up going with his best friend's girlfriend's best friend instead. So I thought that maybe this was like Joe's way of apologizing that he went to the prom with Aaron fucking Steen instead of me. So while I was sitting there at lunch just like fantasizing about how Joe is gonna like confess his love to me face to face, my best friend chimed in with her theory. You know what? I bet the flowers were from Brendan, Dan, and Paul. Okay, now I know that getting sent white roses from not 1 but 3 boys sounds like the freaking dream, but not when it's Brendan, Paul, and Dan. These are the boys who, ever since my parents got me a new car for my 16th birthday, were on a mission to trash it. Not in like a damaging way, just like in a really inconvenient way. Like they would cover the top of it with McDonald's wrappers and like various fast food trash. One time they took a bunch of pads and tampons, smeared them with ketchup and plastered them around my doors. I know, it was really gross. But the winning prank was when they put compost in the front grill so that every time I turned on my air conditioner, the entire car would reek like farm animals. So my friend's theory was that since the boys couldn't top that one, that they had moved on to more advanced ways of torturing me. Hence the half-dozen white roses. And I was like, shit, her theory has way more logic and evidence to it than my Joe Alverson theory. So just in case she was right, just in case this whole thing was just a mean prank, I decided that for the rest of the afternoon, I wasn't going to tell anyone else about the white roses. But then came 7th period, chemistry 2, the one class I had with Joe. And I was like, maybe I can test him. So I started telling my lab partners about the white roses, and not very quietly. So then the entire class started talking about it. Even the teacher was like, "Oh, Rati, that seems like a very sweet gesture." But the entire time everyone was talking about it, Joe was dead silent. And to me, that meant that he did send me the roses. Because if he was comfortable talking about them in public, he would have just put his name on the damn card, right? So I skipped out of class, and I'm like totally convinced that Joe sent me the roses. So I walk out of the office with my white roses in my hand, and as I leave, Brendan, Paul, and Dan walk by, and they're snickering. And they go, "Nice flowers, Rati." I'm like, fuck, maybe it wasn't Joe, maybe it was them. I didn't know what to believe anymore. Like, I never thought in my entire life that having a secret admirer would be so freaking stressful. I thought this was supposed to be fun. So I just go home and I'm like giving myself a panic attack, trying to figure out who the fuck would torture me with such a horrible, horrible thing. And my mom gets home from work and she looks at me and she looks at the roses and she goes, "Oh good, you got the flowers I sent you."